Hello and welcome to Moving Beyond Stigma, the podcast brought to you by Let the Elephants Dance. My name is Michelle Crossman and I am your host. This is our very first episode and we are so excited to have you joining us and listening. There will be various guests invited into our podcast. We have authors, we have other mental health advocates, we have people who work within the industry, and we have those who have really amazing personal stories that they want to share with you. Every single episode is going to be bearing a little bit of our souls with you. So I really love that you are here and listening, and I can't wait to share even more with you. Before we get into further episodes, I want to chat a little bit about what Let the Elephants Dance is. It was a movement that I created after the loss of my beautiful cousin Laura. This movement was so personal, and the decision to create Let the Elephants Dance came to me so quickly, and the support that my family gave me, especially Laura's immediate family, her sister and her amazing parents, was incredible. Laura struggled a lot with depression and anxiety, and unfortunately in the fall of 2015 we did lose her as she committed suicide. And this was definitely, personally, the most heartbreaking moment of my life. And after that, I really did not know what to do anymore. I did not know how to move forward, how to live in a world that she did not exist in anymore. It was one of the hardest times of my life. And I remember not long after she had died, I was sitting in her bedroom with her older sister, and she had this really, really cute stuffed elephant on the bed, and elephants were her favorite animal. So I was sitting there and just going over some memories, sharing some laughs and some tears, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to give Laura a piece of my soul and just let her shine through me, because I didn't know what else to do, and I felt that her story deserved to continue to shine. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to do something. At this point, I had never ran a show before. I had never produced anything in my life. I was usually the dancer in the background that you hired and you tell me what to do and I go do it, because that was my job. But I knew dance was a way to heal. You know, it was a way to express ourselves and tell stories and show our emotions. And this is something I was really moved by about dance. You know, for me personally, it probably saved me over and over again. You know, dance has always been there for me. And at the time, I didn't really have the words to express, but I knew I could dance. So after really thinking about it for a while, and I knew it had to be something. And I saw this little elephant there sitting on the bed beside us. And all of a sudden, the name Let the Elephants Dance came into my head. It just appeared, and I never looked back after that, you know, because I wanted Laura to keep dancing. You know, I can just picture her dancing around, elephants surrounding her, just laughing and filled with so much love. And that's how I think of her when I think about Let the Elephants Dance. And there's so much stigma still that surrounds mental health, and I know we have come such a long way, which is incredible. But again, we have a long way to go, specifically when it comes to things like suicide. It can be the elephant in the room, and I don't want suicide or mental health or illnesses or addiction or anything like that to be an elephant in the room anymore. It shouldn't. It doesn't make sense. We have so many people who are fighting every single day to end this stigma, and it is an honor of mine to be one of those people, and using what I know, what I love, and what is a part of me to do that. That was dance. So I let that idea kind of sit in my brain and marinate a little bit. And then I talked to her parents, and I wanted their blessing. I wanted to make sure it was okay with them to do this. And honestly, at the time, I really thought it was going to be one show. I would do it in her memory and her dedication. And that would be it. I had no idea where it would take me. And after that first show, we raised money for the Canadian Mental Health Association. And I had so many people within the dance community reach out to me and thank me for giving them a space to tell their stories. And after that, I just knew. I knew that there was so much more I had to do. It was my calling, and it was a calling I never knew I had. And I can thank Laura for that. I do thank Laura for that every single day. She has shown me so much. She showed me a lot when she was alive, and she continued to show me and teach me things every single day since she died. And I am incredibly thankful to her and all of the lessons that she's given me and all the faith and love that she has given me. And from there, Let the Elephants Dance, it grew. It became a show that I started to do on a yearly basis. It turned into an annual fundraising gala where, again, artists would come around, all from Toronto and surrounding areas, and we would dance and sing and tell poems. There would be magic in that room. It was an incredible experience. So that is where Let the Elephants Dance started. Over the pandemic, of course, things had to shift. We ended up doing 2 virtual shows, which was very hard to wrap around at first, because I missed the in-person connection. Of course, we all did. It was a very hard time. But then when I saw what the artists were bringing, we had music videos happening. We had short films happening. We had people sitting up and setting up microphones and pianos and just singing. It was amazing, the artistry that people created, either outside, in their living rooms, on set somewhere. They poured so much into those videos. So for the last 2 years, we were able to do a virtual version of Let the Elephants Dance, and it has been really incredible. Since then, we've continued to grow in different ways, and this podcast is one of those ways. And this podcast is a space for us to come and just talk, share a little bit about ourselves, normalize the things that we go through, so that people can feel heard and seen in ways that maybe they haven't before. The type of guests that we'll have on the show will definitely vary. Some of them will be artists like myself. We have authors. We have people who work in the mental health field. We will have people who just want to share what they have gone through and, what they're still going through and what has worked for them, what hasn't, because every single story is different. What will work for me might not necessarily work for you, and that's okay. And I want to bring as much variety as possible so that as many of you as possible can feel seen, heard, and loved, and know that you are not alone. We will talk about the different resources that are out there. We will talk about the things that we need more of, because as much as, yes, there is therapy, there is self-help books, there is yoga, there's dance classes, there's so many things available, but at the same time, if you don't have the appropriate resources to get what you need, it's not enough. And we all know that. If you are struggling financially, it's hard to get what you need. Honestly, impossible for a lot of people. If you are struggling with addiction or homelessness, the things that you need are not in your reach, and that's not okay. There needs to be so much more. So we are going to address these topics, and I honestly cannot wait to share these conversations with all of you and with all the guests that are going to be coming onto the show. So thank you for tuning in for this very first episode. Again, it's mainly just an introductory episode, so I want to get you excited and ready to learn and hear more and be invested, because there's so much that we can learn from each other, from each other's experiences, whether you are a therapist, whether you are a writer, a yoga instructor, a dance teacher, a mental health advocate, someone who answers the phone on the crisis lines. There is so many things that we can talk about. So here at Moving Beyond the Stigma, it is a safe space for people to tell their stories, for you to listen to their stories, ask your questions. You can always reach out to us on social media. We have an Instagram at elephants_dance. Please give us a follow. You can always shoot us a message there. And before we head out, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Michelle Crossman. I am a dancer, an actor, a choreographer, and mental health advocate. Let the Elephants Dance is my project, my baby, since 2016, as I mentioned earlier. Dance has been my outlet emotionally for as long as I can remember. It was the one thing I knew I needed in my life. Dance is a huge part of my soul. Choreography is something that I started later in life, and it's a way that I tell stories, especially when I don't have the words to, or I don't know what the words are yet. It is a way for me to figure out what I'm feeling and take it further and explore, sometimes heal, sometimes open the wounds a little bit more so that I can really dive deep before I begin to heal. Dance for me is my safe space. Let the Elephants Dance is the space where I have learned how to use my words and express where I'm at and how I feel. The very first time at Let the Elephants Dance, I had to ask a very good friend of mine to host the show because I was not able. Words were too difficult. And then eventually I co-hosted the show with my dad, which was an amazing experience. And then eventually I have, at least for the virtual shows, because co-hosting has been a little bit more difficult, been hosting on my own. And this is my first podcast. So thank you for going on this journey with me, those who have been on the journey since day one with our very first show, and those who are maybe joining us now. I hope to shed light on some very difficult topics. I hope to challenge your thinking, challenge my own thinking. I know there's always so much more to learn. The learning never ends, and that's okay. That's actually an amazing thing to know. There's so much out there for us to read about, to take in, to talk about, to really sink our teeth into and just feel. Our world is so busy all of the time. We're go, go, go. And sometimes you just need to slow down and feel. So I hope that these podcasts, whenever you listen, can be a moment for you to do that. Slow down, feel, just listen, and breathe. That's what we're here for. So again, thank you so much for listening. My name is Michelle Crossman, and this is Moving Beyond Stigma.